the immortal Regian
Mm-hmm.
Eersel reclaim his title against Alexis Nicolas. So BG, epic
Yes,
fight.
sir.
I think both fighters had their chance to kind of dictate the tempo in this fight, and was definitely a back and forth. But from your side, BG, what did you see here?
Mm-hmm. Firstly, like you said, I couldn't disagree more. Epic fight for the main event. These guys were thrown from the first minute. But there were some significant differences from the first fight that made that Reagan Usman reclaimed his title, and that was that he didn't allow for Alexis to land too many of those leg kicks. He did land the leg kicks. I had to watch the fight back again just to refresh, obviously, to make sure that I wasn't uh, 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 you know, making the wrong decision when I said that Reagan Israel was going to get it back. And how he got it back was that he switched his stances way more than what he did in the first fight. So that he never really allowed his front leg to be chewed up the way it was in the first fight. And also he was much better in the boxing exchanges. He didn't also allow Alexis Nicolas to dictate too long. I think it was only the third round where Alexis sort of came back in the fight and
Mm,
wasn't allowing himself to get bullied that too much because Ursel was really like putting it on him, landing slick 1-2s with that right hand, and then landing some amazing knees, jumping knees, and then he was landing some really cool teep kicks, which was keeping his distance, and he was forward pushing that first 2 rounds. Then the third round came, and then I felt that Alexis came back maybe from like round from like minute from the last minute onwards in that second round, like he was really starting to hold his own. Then you could see his leg kick started to land a lot more, especially that calf kick. And then round four, it was very even for me. It was very difficult to sort of give. I wanted to give it to Alexis to make it go 2-2 into the fifth round, because that would have been epic. But it wasn't really, because it could have gone to either one. That's how close that fourth round was. And then in the fifth, I think Ursel did enough to get the job done. I think he looked very different in the sense that he wasn't chasing too much like he did in the first fight. After he got knocked down in that first fight, he was head hunting a lot in the first one to sort of get the knockdown back and get his dominance. But Alexis was too slick in that first fight. In this one, I think Ursel dictated the pace from that first 2 rounds, and I think it was a sort of an uphill climb from there for Alexis in the fight. He never really could set his rhythm. He was on the back foot for the most of the fight, and Ursel really had he was coming out on top in the exchanges when they got close when they entered the void and started staying in the pocket and throwing. I think Alexis did land. He was throwing some good body shots. He did land some good right hands. He had also rocked not a couple of times, but there was one time we had him rock, but it wasn't necessarily enough. He never really had also going backwards enough to say, listen, I actually stole that. Well, I got that round. You know what I mean? I think
mm,
for if I would score round by round, which they're not doing it in the one championship, I would say 4-1 to Regan Eersel. I think round three was probably the closest one I would give Alexis. So yeah, maybe you got that one. You could actually argue it and win that argument that you won the third. But
mm,
I think Eersel's footwork showed why he was on such a massive winning streak coming into this fight before, and why he is the immortal dude. Why he is the two sport dude. I mean, this guy is elite. I mean, when I watched him from 2019, I was like, oh, who on earth is going to beat this fella? He's just so creative, very aggressive, and he also utilized his length a lot better in this fight than what he did in the first one. Again, like I said, Alexis never had a moment where he could really have a rhythm and say, okay, now I'm piecing, I'm selecting my shots, I'm making Ursel look and have to change up his strategy. Ursel was just bullying him down and staying on the
mm.
front foot for the most of the fight. And it was still competitive because, like I said, it wasn't like Alexis wasn't landing anything. He was just like it didn't impact the same way it did in the first fight. I think Ursula was just
Mm.
like, yeah, I'm gonna get my title back, and it was a good display from both guys. Honestly, good display.
Yeah, it was a great fight, like I said. I mean, the thing that struck me immediately as someone who didn't watch the first fight, um, was that I thought that Nicholas was definitely the better technical striker. He has a lot better technique when it came to the exchanges. But
Mm,
Ursel's pressure, um, and yeah, like you said, he was on the front foot. He didn't give Nicholas any chance to breathe. But I did think that when I was watching it, the way the first 2 rounds played out, I thought maybe
mm,
Nicholas is just hanging back and checking. Maybe like from round three onwards, he can't keep up the pace for the whole fight, man. And
mm,
somehow he
mm,
didn't manage to keep that pace, but he managed to do enough to not get hit. And
mm.
like you said, Alexis Nicholas did give a good showing of himself in the third round.
Yeah.
Could possibly give that to him. But yeah, like you, but I don't think he did enough on the night, and the correct decision for me.
Yeah.
So BG, do you see this
Yes.
going
So.
to a trilogy, or is this the last we'll see of these two?
Honestly, that I haven't seen anyone in the one championship this far do push Ursel to that kind of pedigree of a fight, like beating him, dropping him like that in the first fight, and also like holding his own. Because look, Ursel did land a lot on him and a lot of power shots, but he never really dropped Alexis in this fight, and
Mm,
in the first one, and Alexis took the shots. He got rocked, but I mean he was defensively sound and he was able to stay in the fight and never really like I said, he didn't go down. He didn't take the knee, and that speaks volumes for me. So I wouldn't be surprised if they run it back and have a trilogy. It would make sense. But Regan Eersel did say at the end of the fight that he wants to defend his Muay Thai title. So let's see what the one championship gives him. For me personally, either or. Honestly, I would love to see Regan be able to defend both simultaneously. And as it stands right now in the lightweight division, because Regan Eersel was fighting middleweight before he came down to lightweight, which you can see his size. I mean, how big he looked in this fight was insane. Um, Alexis has given him the best run so far. The best opponent that he's had so far has been Alexis Nicolas. So if no one else steps up, they probably would give it to Alexis next. The trilogy fight would be the next money fight for the two of them.
I mean, I'd like to see them fight again. I thought it was a very good matchup stylistically,
Yeah.
and I'd just like to see Alexis Nicholas be a bit more aggressive, obviously, in the first few rounds,
Mm, mm.
to really make a fight of it. But yeah, great fight again, and yeah, well deserved to the immortal reclaiming his status as two
Yeah.
sport champion.